because I'm really good in critique myself, but I'm not really good in compliment myself. So I know in those days are the days that I gotta actually uprise what I'm doing right on the doors and not what I'm doing wrong. Because I know sometimes what I'm doing wrong, like you're not enough on the doors, you're taking care too much on the background of the customers, and you're not enough on the doors.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Door to Door podcast. I'm Hunter Lee. I'll be hosting today. We got a pretty cool guest on today, hailing, no pun intended, literally from West Texas, right? West Texas?
Yes, sir. West Texas.
Everyone welcome Willian Soares to the podcast. Willian is actually one of our elite members here at Door to Door Experts, which we'll have him speak to in a little bit. But he's in the roofing industry, absolute stud, and we're happy to have him on. Willian.
Let me correct you. Yeah, let me correct you a little bit. I'm not in the roofing business. I'm on the PDR business.
You're in the what business?
PDR, auto hail repair.
Oh. Okay, gotcha. I actually just had a guest on. What was his name?
I saw that. I forgot his name as well, but I saw the podcast. It was pretty cool.
Is that what you do as well?
Yeah.
Dude, okay, so that was the first time I'd heard of that industry when I had him on the podcast. And then you mentioned as we were warming up that you're chasing hail. So I just assumed roofing, but you're in that business too. Is that just a good industry to be in?
I love the industry, but the way I started in the industry was actually, I was a technician. So I was the guy that actually pushed the dents before I went to sell it.
Gotcha, okay. So you had a lot of technical knowledge before hopping into sales, which has probably served you well, I'm assuming.
Yeah, it still does. It still helps me a bunch because I really talk with authority when it comes to the door. So for me, the way that he was talking about his process, my process is a little bit different because I think I'll close right then and there.
Gotcha.
In the beginning, when I started, I wasn't really good at sales, but sometimes I still could hop it in to where I could fix the car myself. So that would be my side money as well.
Nice, dude. Hustler. Like, hey, we'll go the insurance route, or you know what? Just throw me a wrench. I'm gonna get underneath there myself. I guess above hail, right? That's cool. I'm glad you're on because that industry piqued my interest. So I'm excited to ask more questions. But William, before we get into it, why don't you give the listeners a little bit of a background? Who are you? Where are you from? What led you into door-to-door sales? And then we'll go from there.
All right. As you can notice, I have an accent, and the reason why I have an accent is because I'm originally from Brazil.
Whoa.
So my first language is actually Portuguese. I speak English as a second language since 2019, since I got here in the West. And my third language is Spanish. So I also speak Spanish.
Nice. Trilingual?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. In Brazil, I used to be a personal trainer. So I was all about fitness. Wow. And in Brazil, you got to go to college, do all the process. I really loved the thing. Wouldn't make a lot of money, but I really loved the thing. When I moved over here was with my ex-wife family. They invited us to come over, live over here. And my father-in-law at the time, he taught me how to fix cars from hail damage. So that's where I started the PDR business. I couldn't even understand how mind-blowing that was.
Yeah.
And over there, I started to find out that a couple of people would sell. Some people would just do door to door, not very often. A lot of them would just set up a tent and wait for customers to come in their direction. It's a very orthodoxal type of system you have on PDR, something not very common. But you have hail damage everywhere. No one likes to have their car with dents and things and anything like that. So when you come to the process and people actually understand, they just have no reason whatsoever to not fix their car.
Totally.
So it's really reasonable, very simple. And I did that for a year and a half, following him, learning, fixing cars. And for some reason, at some point, I got tired. I gave up because it was way too much traveling, bouncing to a place to another. People owing you money on this industry was very often, as a technician, people tell they're gonna pay you something, they don't pay you something. So that uncertainty of getting paid, which is very often in this industry, it was something that it scared me off. So I went back to live in Orlando for a while, sold cars for a little bit. For 6-7 months, I sold cars. And then a friend of mine invited me to come sell for his company, which at the time was really interesting because I was between selling cars and going back to fixing cars from hail damage. And I was pretty much leaving my car because finance wasn't the best.
Yeah.
He explained me the whole situation. I remember they had good performers, not a really good environment, the company whatsoever, but a lot of good performance, and I wanted to be as good as performer as them. So that's when I started to do door knocking. Really afraid I would do an hour a day, would always be shaking. I still shake until nowadays, but I feel way more comfortable now than I used to be at that time. When I started, it was out of the season in Austin market, where hail wasn't something very often over there for the last few years. And it was really funny because my numbers, even though I worked for just 3 months, was the same as the second greatest salesman they had at the company, because the guy just came, worked for a month or two, didn't like the market and left. And I scooped his area and ended up doing the same numbers, not even half of the cars that we'd have on the street.
Wow. That's amazing, dude. So you kind of trickled into the industry, so to speak. You had a buddy, you fixed cars, knew the business, selling cars. Your buddy invited you out to sell, and now here you are, still in it. Mm-hmm. How long have you been doing this, Willian?
Selling 4 years now, almost 4 years, since July 2021.
Wow. Okay. So obviously you got in, you were nervous, shaking. That never really goes away for a lot of people. There's, jitters on the doors, which is cool. It makes you feel alive, right? But that's awesome, dude. What has kept you in the industry for 4 years?
Winning. I was always a very competitive person. Since really, really young. I played soccer for a little bit because my father made me play soccer. I hate soccer. I'm probably the only Brazilian way ever gonna hear saying that I don't like soccer.
You are the first. And you're the first Brazilian I've heard call it soccer too.
Brazil, when I had to choose, I play football. I played American football. I was a linebacker for 7 years.
Oh,
and my father thought that wouldn't last because that's not very common in Brazil.
Sure.
So I bought my equipment. We used to pay. It was very amateur. And I played for a small team for 2 or 3 years. And then I went to the big leagues, playing on the big teams. Still amateur, still was paying for play, was playing just for fun, but played on that team for almost 5 years and had the utmost fun and learned a lot. A lot of my values in life and character comes from that team that I play. I owe them a big chunk of my life. My first jobs that I liked it, as personal trainer, coach, and everything was because of that. And even the ethics for work, a lot of comes from that.
Totally. Our industry is a sport, dude. It's literally a sport. It's you versus you out there. Even in a team sport and there's opponents, that's just one factor. It's really you versus you, anything you do in life. If you have that competitive nature, the will to win, push through adversity, you learn that in sports. And then it translates almost like it synchronizes perfectly with what we do every single day, which is cool because every day you go out and it's like you are in a battle with yourself, pushing through all the different elements, literally and physically. And then you go to bed, wake up, and it's a complete reset. It's like a whole new game. It's like you could have destroyed your team yesterday, and then you have a whole new game, whole new set of players, whole new strategy the next day. It's really cool. And that's something that a lot of people that I do these podcasts with, like top performers, have in common, is they see it like that, and they have some kind of a upbringing in the realm of competitive sports, and it just translates over perfectly. But that's cool, man. It sounds like you got more US of A running through your veins than you do Portuguese, loving American football, linebacker, not really interested in soccer. That's hilarious. I love it, dude. So kind of jumping back into the beginning, you're 4 years in, you're still doing it. Obviously, you're successful. You are one of our elite members, which if you don't know, we have what's called the league. There's elite members and circle members, different programs. But I kind of want to speak to the elite a little bit here in a second, but I want to go back to your early days in door-to-door. Obviously, you mentioned you were shaken, it was new, you were unsure, but yet 4 years later, here you are. What do you think was the catalyst to get you to stick around for so long and find success? You mentioned you scooped over that guy's area, but that can't be entirely it. Did you have any mentors that helped you in the beginning? Was there some kind of training that got you to go over the learning curve fast? What got you to just be successful and stick with it? Because a lot of people don't.
Yeah, I know a lot of people don't, and I didn't have actually those perks, those people to inspire myself to it. All the other salesmen were too busy doing their own thing, selling their own stuff. They couldn't stop me. And in this industry, because we work with the same technicians, we end up being into the same shop a lot of times, very competitive between each other. That happens a lot. And I find out that's not just on my companies, other companies as well. So they never had the time to let me just stop and train this dude. I just had to figure it out by myself. I would say I probably look it up a lot of Sim in the beginning on the YouTube, everything that he had on YouTube. Alex Hormozy was also something big that I always look forward. I always like the simplicity explained for everything he does. So those are the biggest two persons that I learned from, even from the beginning, from the jump start that I start to follow. Because once I start to jumping something new, I'm trying to understand every single corner of it. And that's just me. I love to learn. I'm always trying to learn something new. And I'm trying to always improve in everything that I can and everything that I can get the best out of it into what I'm learning. So if I'm into an industry, I want to know everything. What did the technicians think? What did they don't think? How did the customer feel like it? How did it doesn't feel like it? I want to know how the business owner think about the company. So I understand how their processes and everything. And so how everything operates. And I'm the type of person that I'm very analytical, so I can understand everything. So I keep my process always solid. So it's very simple for my customers to understand how the thing is gonna go. And if you have a delay or something, they actually can be on the same page as me, which they don't get upset. So I don't get no cancellations. I don't get people upset or anything like that.
I love it, dude. I'm the same way. It's funny you mentioned that. In the beginning, you'd watch training videos from Sam. I did the same thing. So like, I obviously work with him and I do a lot of his content. And it was cool because, so when I was brand new, I did alarms for a summer and then transitioned to solar and did solar for almost a decade. But I remember my very first summer selling alarms, there wasn't much training available. No one was really doing the YouTube thing. It was more so like whatever company you worked for, at the time, they had a few training platforms and videos you can watch, and like that was it. But it was funny when I transitioned to solar and was like, I did a summer of alarms, I did well, but I was still young in the industry, right? I jump over to solar, there wasn't much training, and I would watch whatever Sam had on YouTube. That was around the time he was just getting started, door-to-door experts. It was kind of a full circle moment last week. We did this session with Sam here in the studio where we were recording and we were having him watch his old videos and critique them and it was funny. One of the videos that he selected to critique was one of the videos I watched on repeat on how to craft a good solar pitch. And so as he's like watching this video, I was like, oh my God, like I remember sitting on sidewalks in neighborhoods watching this video and putting to use or implementing what you were teaching. So it was kind of funny, but yeah, it's so important that the element of training in this industry. I feel like so many people, and it's not wrong per se, they just preach, go fall on your face, go learn. And there is validity to that, right? Like just go do and learn, like jump out of the plane and build the parachute on the way down type thing. But training just really helps expedite the learning curve, give you the tools, the practical knowledge, the objection handling skills, learning all the ins and outs, because there's a learning curve. And everyone's got to go through it. Everyone, I don't care who you are, like you're going to jump into this industry and you got to learn how to sell, how to read people, how to overcome objections, and training expedites that. I used to literally, when I was new, pick one skill a day. Sometimes I'd use that same skill multiple days until I felt sufficient enough to move on to the next one. And I wouldn't even focus on selling. Like I wouldn't focus on the numbers. I wouldn't focus on the work. I would focus on every door. Okay, I need to get better at overcoming, like, I'm not interested, right? And I would watch videos on how to do it. I would internalize, I'd practice in the mirror in the morning. I'd go out, I'd knock a door, not interested. I would, okay, cool, this is what I'm training for. And I would measure my success on how well I got through that smoke screen. And if I didn't do well, or if I forgot some things, before I knocked the next door, I would literally pull up the phone and I would watch the video, practice in my head, go to the next door. Try it again, because Lord knows not interested's come out every other door, it seems like. But that's cool, man. Did you have any mentors along the way that helped you as well? Getting started?
I did had a couple people that I actually got a lot of mentality, including Grant Cardone. I like the mentality for action that he has. It was from the very beginning, was on the first books. The 10X Rule was one of my favorite books. Sell or Be Sold. So I really enjoyed his books in the beginning. But the ones that I always identify myself the best was always Sam's. For some reason, I always would go back to him, and you would always find the answer over there, because it's still nowadays, I don't really have like a structured pitch. So like I exactly say the exactly same thing every single time. I have a couple pitch stops, I would say, a couple spots that I know if I get this milestone, this milestone, cool, good deal. I pull the car, pull the deal or something like that. So I usually go on those directions. That way I don't sound like everybody else that just come through their door. Because like Dallas example is a very competitive market. Is the place to be when it comes to auto hair repair. A lot of companies don't even like to be there because of it. But for me, it's exactly like that. So that way I try to take it off all the pressure, all the salesly, all the conversation, all the thing that usually make people get angry at you, that you're taking their time and everything, and just trying to make, hey, I'm just your friend. I'm just here in the neighborhood. I'm actually part of your neighborhood here because I've been fixing so many cars.
Yeah, that's awesome, dude. I love talking to door-to-door sales reps, because every time I ask some questions, the same questions, the answer is a little bit different, but it gets to the point and it works for everybody. Everyone has their own thing. And obviously there's a lot of success to be experienced. You've definitely experienced success. That's why you're still in it, I'm assuming. But question for you, Willian, when those hard times come, those adverse weeks, days, quarters, whatever it may be, you get into a little bit of a sales slump. We all experience it. How do you push through adversity, get over adversity, get out of a sales slump? Are you like processed there, or do you just grit through it? But how do you keep going when times get rough? For our listeners, because everyone knows listening that those moments come and people may be in them right now.
First things first, I always try to reflect why I'm in this lump. There's usually something more internal than external.
Yeah.
9 out of 10, usually something internal and external is some limited belief you put yourself into it. And that is the reason usually we get in this lump. There's nothing with the customer. There's nothing with the market. There's nothing what are you doing. It's pretty much the believing, because the day you believe you're going to sell 10 is the day you're going to sell 10. The day you believe you're going to sell 1 is the day you're going to sell 1. The day you're shaking, not even certain if you're can sell anything, you might have like a couple of weeks you're going to have issues. And that's just a certain you have in life. Like if you don't go out, you don't sell, of course you're not going to sell nothing. But if you keep doing exactly the same things and keep reflecting what you actually did it right and what actually you did it wrong, you're going to get at some point. Just try to make sure to not beat yourself up. And that's the process I usually like to do, the reflection, because I'm really good in critique myself, but I'm not really good in compliment myself. So I know in those days are the days that I got to actually uprise what I'm doing right on the doors and not what I'm doing wrong. Because I know sometimes what I'm doing wrong, like you're not enough in the doors. Taking care too much on the background of the customers, and you're not enough on the doors. You giving yourself excuses to do a 𝐬𝐫𝐬𝐿. So those are easy for me to find the issues. But what I'm actually doing right is actually what I need to keep doing, and that's what I try to upright. So if I'm talking to a customer in a certain tonality, I just try to keep that tonality, because I see that I keep getting more time into the door, more time into the conversation, more and more engagement on that person. That's what I try to get as a winning. So every single winning that I can grab myself into, that's what I usually grab.
That's smart, dude. I feel like a lot of people get burnt out, or they self-slump because they're only focused on the results. Like that's it. Only focus on the results, but there's so many wins to be had everywhere. And if you focus on gleaning wins in any which way you can, it'll keep you motivated and it'll keep you pushing forward. That's cool, dude. I was going to ask you a question, but I feel like the answer is yes, because you mentioned that you're analytical, you like to train. That's what you did in the beginning, at least, but you're a member of our elite program. So that tells me that you're always trying to learn, you're always trying to get better, and you're investing in yourself to do those things, and you're surrounding yourself around top performers, which the elite is full of them. I love our elite group. There's so many high-level sales reps, sales leaders in that group. And whenever we have elite events and all the elite guys are here, guys and gals. It's cool. I love hanging around them because they're just like top tier people. But kind of talk to me about the elite so far. You said you've been a member for about a year now.
Yeah, I joined the league again this year, and I did the first time Sam launched the league. I did both times. Both times were them for a great. I got a really good jump from the start. It was funny because I already knew about the league the last time I went to door-to-door-con. This last time, and what I did, I really rushed to be the first one with the folder in hand.
Really?
So as soon as he sounded the pitch that we could go, I was already in a stance like a defensive line back, just in 3 points, ready to go. I launched myself, and I remember I jumped a lady and I gave the folder to Sam on hand. And
no way.
Yep.
That's awesome, dude.
And I fill it up, right, everything over there, because I know all my information by head. I didn't need to go grab my credit card and none of that. I fill it up, leave it over there. You know, it was pretty funny because I was really into this mindset competitive this year more than ever.
Cool.
I feel like I was really into to get the most out of what I could.
I love it, dude. What would, for anyone listening that maybe is considering joining our elite program, what would you say to them to sway their decision to join the elite?
I mean, it's pretty simple. If you're looking, you just gotta look yourself around. For me, it was very reasonable because I didn't have around people that could inspire me. I didn't have top performers that was outperforming me. I didn't have people that, hey, I want to be like that person, or I want to grab this from him. Because if you live in a certain environment, you're gonna get that from that environment. So I always try to be around the league group, even if I'm just quiet in the corner. I always try to be around top performers. I perform a rep, so I can steal that skill from them. I can learn something from them. So I'm usually not the person that's gonna be talking the most in a room, but I'm always gonna be the person that's gonna be listening the most in the room. And I'm always taking my notes, always my phone on hand, taking notes. I always try to get something that I can use for me, and that's what I get the most on the league group. Everything else is a perk. You get trips, you have the fun, you have good people, but having that environment where you have people that actually wanna do the same thing as you, they want to outperform, they want to take care of the family, they're gonna fulfill their why. Being around that environment, the people are certain of they want to get something done, even though they're not certain how they're gonna get that done. It's by itself, for me, it was more than enough to join the group.
100%, man. Like, I couldn't agree more. I just feel like, and I told this to other people, I feel like the association and the network that you gain from joining the circle, the elite, whatever program, even just coming to our, our internal events is worth the admission fee alone. Everything else is just a perk. Like you said, the training access, the trips, just being around such strong, high level individuals, it's hard to not be one of them. And I feel like, just speaking personally, that's one of the biggest perks of my job. Sam is probably one of the most connected persons I've ever met. And I get to go with him and film and be backstage on big events and just grow my association because I work with Sam and I get to be in the rooms that he gets to be in with my camera. And it's awesome. And like I said, my favorite days here at work, here at the Hive, the headquarters, is the internal events days or the deep dive days when the elite group, the circle group, or attendees from our business leader recruiting and business leader sales and recruiting boot camps, the attendees that come, they're just, people that are investing in themselves, and I just love being around them. So I couldn't agree more. And if you're on the edge of the elite, like I said, like Willian said, it's worth the price, like just surrounding yourselves with these individuals, because a lot of people don't have that. There's big conglomerate companies that exist in our space where you're around a lot of people, but there's also, more so than not, the small mom and pop companies where it's just, you're one of like 20 people. It's hard. Sometimes you feel like you're alone, but being a part of an association, even if like you're not around them 24/7, right? You're still on group chats with them. It's so worth it. I couldn't agree more. If you were, a question for you, Willian, kind of going back, thank you for that answer on the elite. If you were to leave the door-to-door sales industry right now, if someone offered you just a couldn't turn down job to go do something else and you were out door to door, what would be your biggest takeaway from the industry, from the 4 years you spent on the doors that you think would translate to the rest of your life?
Any skill you want to learn is very simple. Sales was something that was all this monster I always created. I always had a friend growing up that did sales. And for me, it was always this skeptical monster, mythological that I couldn't understand. And once I jumped in, I saw how much simple was it, and is the core thing on anything I would do. For me, it wouldn't be pretty much a job. My next step would be pretty much just entrepreneurial. I think no job would be recusable unless it would be like a business plan. So that's my biggest takeaway, is just having the courage to just do it. Do it.
Just do it, man. There's something powerful about waking up every day. You kind of have this, maybe I'm just projecting, but you go out to the doors and you're kind of like, when you have just like a great day in sales or a great day in life or a great day on the sports field, whatever it is, and then it's over. And then you got to do it again. And you're just like, can I do that again? And you go out and you do it again. And you prove to yourself day in, day out that, you can do it. You can hustle, you can grind, you can sell. Like, I love those feelings when you knock on a door and you take a person from no way, like borderline, get the hell off my property, to contract signed within a matter of an hour. Like, to me, that's one of the most satisfying. Like, I sold them. There's people out there that you knock their door, they're super friendly, you connect with them, they absolutely need your product. They maybe were even thinking or looking for it prior to you showing up, and you get them done. And it's just like this, it was meant to be. Those are easy laydowns, whatever. But the ones that you have to really pull out your salesmanship, you have to do the damn thing. You have to refer to the textbook. You've got to, do some Jedi mind trick. Those moments are the most gratifying moments, I feel like, in sales. You're like, dang, you're like, that was cool. You know what I mean?
Definitely. Yeah, those are the greatest. When people come to you and tell, like, I was about to tell you to get a shit out here. Yeah. Or whenever you feel so confident. I mean, in West Texas, for me, that happens quite a bit. My girlfriend doesn't like to listen about this kind of thing. But like, people come to the door sometimes with a gun pointing in your face. You still got to give them the pitch. You still got to go and sell it. Sometimes works, sometimes it doesn't. But I got quite a bit of people like already pointing guns to me. And like, you got to disarm them, literally disarm them, to explain that I'm not here to try to be a burglar or steal your house. I'm literally here just to fix the car, all the hail damage out of your car.
100%.
So those are the days that are like, you calm down that person, they were in a bad mood or something. You could hear they just fighting with the wife, and you knocking the door and holding, like, shit, this is gonna be the one, but exactly the one you just said is gonna be the one they're gonna kick you out of their Porsche right away. And that's the person that say, hey, thank goodness you just showed up. You just made my day, because I was really needing to talk to someone, and it's amazing what you do, the way y'all do it.
Totally, dude. 100%. Man, I had a question to go along with that, and I just forgot it. I was listening to you speak. Completely forgot. Oh yeah. Here it is. Okay. Resume podcast. In your industry, what is that you get the biggest objection? Like, not smoke screen, but like real objection. And what is your process or method for overcoming it?
For me, it's a 50% chance. The one that I get the most is I already have someone that's gonna fix my car, pretty much because I really work close to Mexico. So a lot of people like to drive across the border to get the car fixed. Something that is gonna be 20 times cheaper over there towards here. And for me, it's literally one of my first questions in the process is, do you already have someone to fix your car? Depending on their tonality, depending on their gesture, for me, it's just a waste of time, and I already know, so I already leave the house. In most case scenarios, I just treat it as the small screen objection. So even though they already have someone, I try to find out what kind of repair they're gonna do, since I'm so knowledgeable about it, and I try to win them to where they can get the most value using me. doors they would use someone else. Would that in time? Would that be in quality of repair? That means the value they're gonna get, the amount of value they're gonna get back on their car. Because no one wants to have a car entire painted again unless you want a customization. They want to keep everything as original as possible because that's the reason why you bought your car. You bought your car because you like the color of your car, you like the perks in your car, you like everything that has your car. You want to have your car exactly the way it was prior to the store. You just want to make sure that you have someone confident. So trusting someone in the door is the same thing as trust a mechanic that just showed up at your door and say, hey, I can change the oil in your car. You kind of feel a little bit skeptical. So I get that, and that's the barrier I usually get it, is just making them trust me more than their cousin, their old friend they had like for 30 years, or the body shop, they always use it, but they kind of like it, kind of don't like it. They use them, but it's like kind of the verge of the situation. And dealing for me, those customers are the customers that actually is for you, that the ones that make my day, because I know we provide such a great service that once I get the customer, I know they're going to be serviced in the highest level.
Absolutely, dude. I bet you do a lot of 8-miling out there. Like, hey, I'm Willian with whatever company. Just wanted to let you know. I'm assuming you already have someone to fix your car, like most of your neighbors. And then just go into it, and they're just like, and they can't pull that objection on you, right?
Yeah. And usually when I get in a market that is very, very competitive, like Dallas, I usually do that. Here in West Texas, I don't need to do as much. I change a little bit the page because of all the culture and everything. So I ask the question if they already have someone. If they do have someone, I usually ask, do you usually use them often? Have you used them last year? Have you used them? When was the last time y'all used it? Because they might be even out of the business. You don't even know.
Mm-hmm.
So I usually ask the question instead of just 8-miling, but I do use 8-mile a lot. From the objections I get on the same neighborhood, I use a lot the 8-miling and a lot of the bandwagon. Bandwagon, this is something that comes really along. Usually, I don't need to have exactly the name of the person. A lot of people don't know them by the name, but they know them by the car they drive. They know by the usual things that person usually do. So it's Cindy, the one that drives the red Camry. I'm actually fixing a car. I don't know if you noticed, she actually have one of her rentals. She has the logo. She looks like a cop car right now. She looks like the state trooper, but she's not a state trooper. She didn't change her job. It was just fixing a car. Next week I'm bringing. And I was just wondering if I could go with you around the car after we fix the car so you can check it up the quality. So that's something I usually include on my page, because I know if I bring that car and it's top notch, I get the neighbor another 5. Super easy.
Oh yeah, dude. The Jones effect, the bandwagon effect, whatever you want to refer to it as, is really real. Especially a lot of reps will pull that even if they don't, right? They're like, oh, I was actually talking to your neighbor down the street, and they weren't. But like when you legit have customers and they have your product, whether it's solar, if you put a roof on, or in this case, a rental car with the logo, like huge, dude. That's huge. I love it. Some final questions for you, Willian. If I was... Well, actually, let me preface this. Do you do any hiring or training? Or are you straight sales?
No.
Okay, then great question. This will be an interesting question for you. If you were, and I was a brand new rep, first day on the job, and you were training me, and I'm in your passenger seat, we're driving to area, and I ask you, Willian, as a brand new rep who knows nothing, what's the biggest thing I can focus on to have success? What would you say to me?
Biggest thing I would focus. I would say, let it be the day with any negative. Let the negative be a goldfish, and forget about everything that happened, because bad shit is gonna happen. But be in the door the most time you can. So the hours are the thing that matter the most. I know it's gonna be hard. I know everything, but it doesn't matter what I tell you right now. Nothing is gonna matter. You're gonna need to find your own way and try to leave the negativity behind, and just be a goldfish and trying to think about the next door in a whole fresh mind.
Absolutely, dude. Selective amnesia is powerful. If you let every single word said to you, every interaction on the doors, every bad one get to you, dude, it won't be 3 doors deep and you're out. You have to be a goldfish. You have to let it go, and I feel like that's where a lot of reps struggle, is they actually don't let it go. They get talked down to, get a real job, like people are mean to them, and it just like they let it fester. And it's just like, whatever, man. Like, who cares? Of course they're going to say that. Like, yeah, just go to the next one. They're not your customer, you know? Cool, sweet. You didn't waste my time. Thanks for the no. I'm going to go find a yes.
Exactly. I can speed it up and go as run as possible to the next door.
Absolutely. I love it. Well, before we wrap up, what is the funniest or craziest thing? It sounds like in West Texas, you get it a lot, but what's the funniest or craziest thing that has happened to you on the doors?
I think it was like 3 months ago. It was actually a pointing gun. This customer had a brand new Santa Fe, and he came out. He has his fence down. His car was damaged. I knocked the door. He had a glass door. He came out all the way screaming on the door, "Who is there?" And I knocked 3 times the door. I didn't knock once. I knocked 3 times. I saw they looking me through the window. So I kept knocking until they come talk to me. And I kept like right in the middle of the house. So I wasn't a burglar. It would be, if I tried to burgle the house, the time they took, it would take 50. I would have took everything on the house. But I stayed over there at the house. The guy came at me, screamed at me, "Stay right here." Went back, went inside. I waited. I don't give a fuck. Whatever's gonna happen is gonna happen. He came with like a big those shotguns pointing at me. And I just raised my both hands and say, "Hey dude, I'm just here for the hail damage. I'm actually helping Joe down the street to get his truck fixed." And that's exactly what I'm doing over here. And he was like, move out, or I'm gonna call the cops. I was like, "You can call the cops. It's not a big deal. I'm just fixing the hail damage of everybody. And I noticed your car is really, really, really bad damage. Wow. So you're either gonna need me or you're gonna need someone else. It's not a big deal."
And he's just shotgun right to the chest the whole time. Oh my God.
He loaded, he took it off the trigger and everything. And I kept walking, kept pitching. I kept trying and walking to my car. And when I was in my car, he took it off the gun. I tried to keep going. I couldn't get that customer, but I kept trying. I still think about going back and knock the door ever since.
Dude, you're crazy, man. Oh my gosh. The fact that he said stay right there and just came back strapped. Was it a double barrel? Oh my gosh, you're crazy. I would've been like, later. You're just trying to get a customer. If you got him, dude, that would have been, I mean.
That would be the amazing sale ever. I would be bragging about the sale of whole month.
I know. Well, the fact that you just kept going is impressive. I would've been like, "Sir, yes, sir, I'm gonna move out of the state." No, I'm just kidding. That's awesome, dude. Well, hey, we'll wrap up. I appreciate you jumping on, taking time out of your busy day to do this. For people listening that want to see you more, are you active on social media much? Do you post?
Not really. I don't do very social media.
Okay.
Not really my thing.
Not really. Well, if you like this podcast, you connect with Willian, you got to join our elite program because he's a member and he's at the events. So look into it. But Willian, appreciate you, my guy. Go out, don't get shot, sell some hail damage, get some cars fixed, and looking forward to meeting you at the next event.